are approved. Next, we have our public comments. The public comment section of the agenda is an opportunity for people to address the school board. The purpose of public comments is for those interested to communicate with the board of directors about items on the agenda or specific work within the scope of the school district. This isn't a time for the audience to address each other. Also, as documented by board policy, the board is not obligated to respond to questions or challenges made during the public comment period. And the board's silence does not signal agreement, disagreement, or endorsement of the speaker's remarks. People may submit public comments either by reading your comments aloud in person or by submitting your comment in writing, and we did get some comments in writing tonight. The board reads all written comments, and they are also attached to the meeting agenda and posted on the board docs website for the public. For tonight's meeting, I think 4 of the comments were about the start and end time, and 1 was about something else.
FRA allocations.
Oh, yes. Thank you for the family resource advocates. Thank you to all of those who took the time to share your thinking with us through the written comments. When you present your comment in person, you're going to begin, please, by stating your name, your city of residence, your relationship to the district, and the agenda item or school district topic that you're addressing tonight. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. A timer will be running so that you can monitor your time. At the 3-minute mark, the microphone will be muted. Please make your statement in a civil manner without disparaging, name-calling, or otherwise targeting any one person or group in the district. If any person makes an uncivil comment, I will direct the microphone to be muted and your comment will be ended regardless of the amount of time on the timer. The description of an uncivil comment is stated in our school board policy 1400 and is included in the information on the table where you signed in. So please use good judgment in the phrasing and content of your comment. Relevant items mentioned in comments are typically not acted upon the board at this time, but may be followed up by the board, the superintendent, and or staff at another time. Please note that due to the large number of people who are interested in making a comment tonight, like you've heard, we expanded the amount of time for public comments to allow for the number of people who have signed up. If you're not able to make your comment tonight for any reason, there's another board meeting in July 7th, I believe. And of course, people can send us comments or questions at any time via email. For those who are particularly interested in speaking about the proposed start and end time schedule, please understand that we have a very long runway before any actions will be taken toward implementation to allow for additional input that our community is to be able to supplement the thousands of responses that we've already received through surveys and other forms. Comments are made from the podium that is to the side of the boardroom. So what I will do is I will call someone's name and then I will also say who will be coming up next so you can sort of queue up, and I will then each time let you know who can be queued up so that you can kind of be ready for when it's your turn. Okay, let me find this. So the first person tonight is Lauren Johnson, and the person who will be following Lauren is Christopher Botman.
Good evening, board members. My name is Lauren Johnson. I'm a reading teacher at Cedar Valley Community School, and these are also family members from Cedar Valley Community School. Our students at Cedar Valley desperately need a full-time family resource advocate. Yet, for this upcoming school year, our support is being cut from 5 days a week down to 3. As the highest poverty elementary school in our district, Cedar Valley students cannot learn until their basic survival needs are met. Our family resource advocate, Angela, provides that foundation. Her impact is clear. This past year, our reading scores improved by 23%, ranking us number 9 out of the 22 elementary schools in the district. The barriers of our students face are an everyday reality in my classroom. Here are a few examples of my conversations with our students. Miss Johnson, I don't want to get on the bus and leave school because I'm living in my car. I'm hungry because we don't have food at home. My backpack broke and my family can't afford a new one. My response is always, let's visit Angela. She will help. During conferences, when a family told me they could not attend our school's reading night because they lacked transportation and felt unsafe walking in the dark, Angela stepped in and secured a ride for them. In multiple other conferences, when families face severe attendance barriers, Angela was the bridge that brought those children back into the classroom. When I walk my students to and from their reading lessons, I see Angela meeting with families back to back. The demand for her time already outpaces a 5-day work week. Cutting her to 3 days will be devastating to our students. Angela is a trusted advocate at Cedar Valley. She is an immigrant from Chile, born under a dictatorship. There is a sense of safety when a family can connect with someone who truly understands their journey and can help them navigate resources to combat poverty. If we reduce this position, we will see a decline in attendance and in academic performance because our students lack a full-time family resource advocate. My request tonight is to ask that the district partner with us to problem solve. We must find a way to secure a full-time family advocate for the students of Cedar Valley. Please help. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. After Christopher will be Brian Reed.
Okay. Hello, board. Forgive my shakiness while this is not my first time speaking in front of the crowd. It's still getting a grip on the feeling. My name is Christopher Botman. I was born and raised here within the Edmonds School District and now find myself as an employee of it. I have been a paraeducator now for about a year and a half. First half I was spent as a substitute, but now I have found myself a home at Alderwood Middle School. However, I'm not here to talk about myself too much tonight. Instead, I am here to talk about my fellow paraeducators and our current fight for a livable wage. However, in order to make an argument for that, I need to make a quick history lesson. A paraprofessional became a workable position in the 1950s as a teacher's aide, mostly working as clerical work after the baby boom. However, in the 1960s, when Lyndon B. Johnson enacted his war on poverty, schools were flooded with resources and as such were able to hire more paraprofessionals for more roles than just clerical work. Now, according to the New York Institute of Education, by 1971, 93% of paraeducators were women, and at the time, 80% were mothers. At the time, the roles were filled by what would have been called activist mothers. In the late 70s, a livable wage for a single adult would have been around $7,000 to $10,000 a year. The top-end salary of a paraeducator at the time, $7,000. I would like to go back and emphasize that the livable wage of a single adult at the time was $7,000 to $10,000, meaning a mother at the time would not be able to support a child on this income. The salary of a paraeducator would have been the supplementary income to a husband's primary income. By this point, I should, I'm actually a little ahead, be about 2 minutes, so I'll cut to the point. Today, the National Education Association lists 92% of paraeducators as women, often hired to schools directed by the advertisement saying, work the same schedule as your child. My mother has been a paraeducator for well over a decade in the Edmonds School District. While I won't go into details, members of the board, my father died this year. After his business went under a couple years ago and his eventual passing, it was up to my mother and her salary as a paraeducator to pay the bills of the mortgage, property tax, and maintain the home. Luckily, I moved back from college a couple years ago and I've been able to help with the bills where I can, meanwhile also trying to pay off my student loans, car insurance, phone bills, etc. However, that wasn't enough, so my sister moved in. She works as a part-time teacher in another school district. With our salaries combined, we have been able to keep the house that we grew up in, and hopefully we'll be able to for quite some time. However, my sister and I can't be home forever. Oh, I'm not asking you to help on my behalf, but on the behalf of mothers.
Thank you, Christopher. Next, after Brian, will be Donna Morin.
Hi, good evening. My name is Brian Reed. Currently live in Edmonds. I'm a proud father of a kindergartner who goes to Westgate Elementary, and I'm just here to politely ask the board to reconsider the adjusted school start times. Specifically, I'm here just to give you some input from the community, as it sounds like you are seeking and taking for action. I'm an active duty member of the military, and my family is active duty military family. So, as a member of the community, I received active duty orders to a base in Seattle last spring. And we love the area. We love seeing such a strong community coming together for action. But we just want to I wanted to give you a little bit of input because I feel like this is a component of the community that may have not been fully heard in this decision-making process. I was never provided the opportunity to provide input over the past couple of years because I was at a different duty station. So I wasn't able to come to these meetings or answer surveys. My daughter is 7 right now. My wife is a full-time working spouse. Military members face financial difficulties with the constant moves. This was our 6th move in the last 13 years of active duty time. So this proposed new start time is really going to negatively impact our family with such a little one. I understand the research that high schoolers, no student should wake up and have to be at school at 7:20. I think we all agree on that. But this is a very risky decision that you're making to have 7-year-olds have to wake up at 6 o'clock, when dad's getting ready to put on a uniform and serve the country. It's a very risky decision. And from my understanding, there's a lack of research to support this decision. I understand the research is there for high schoolers and everything, and I believe the decision was made in good faith, but I think that the board should just reconsider and listen to the strong community movement and members of the community, and I hope it just helps inform your decision moving forward. So, thank you.
Sorry, the system just signed me out. Thank you, Brian.
Next is Donna, and after that will be Joe Bowen.
Thank you.
Thank you, members of the board, and good evening. My name is Donna Morin, and I'm currently a paraeducator at Alderwood Early Childhood Center. All 3 of my children have attended Edmonds schools, and we've lived here for 37 years. I know that budget concerns are never ending. However, I want to share with you how much training and education paraeducators have in addition to their degrees, and how they are a vital part of our student success here in Edmonds. I would like to point out the district has to find a way to increase wages and provide a living wage for paraeducators. It's a reflection of the value we place on our students and the adults who interact with them every day. I have over 25 years of experience in education as a former special education para, teacher, and COVID health screener in this district. And let me tell you, I need that background every day working my third year as an early childhood paraeducator at Alderwood Early Childhood Center. We have 18 classrooms there. We have 4 off-site classrooms for a total of 7 additional classrooms. And in preschool alone, there are 53 paraeducators. Each early childhood education classroom has a high percentage of students with special needs or they're on IEPs. Most AECC paras have state training to be in compliance with Early Childhood Educational Assistant Program, the ECAP program, guidelines. Most paras working at preschool programs have an additional 42 credit hours invested in their general certificates, and many have their English language learner or special ed endorsements or their advanced certificate as well. It takes years to earn these, and this is after our initial 28 credit hours our first year of hire. All paras working with medically fragile students and or those who have intensive support needs must have additional hours of training. Like teachers, paraeducators are continuously attending professional development classes, CPR and other safety trainings, or using some of their enhancement hours to earn an endorsement. I myself have taken several credits this year through the UW Harrington Center trainings. Paras do this to improve and learn best practices so they can better serve students. But while many paras earn a small stipend from getting an endorsement, I know of several co-workers who've had to have part-time jobs both during the summer and during the school year to make ends meet. At AECC, we only work 4 days a week, and several co-workers and I routinely substitute on Fridays to help be able to pay the bills. And at times, a trained and experienced para gets a job in a neighboring district because most of them pay better. I'd like the board to please consider working with Human Resources to offer a living wage for full-time experienced paras in Edmonds. We're a proven, effective, and educated resource that helps support student learning year-round.
Thank you, Donna. After Joe is Ben Chen.
Hello, I'm Joe Bowen, and I'm sorry I didn't rehearse this, and I'm afraid it's really going to bite me. I have a first grader at Mount Lake Terrace Elementary, and I'm here to talk about the 7:20 a.m. Start time. We were told that this change was made to accommodate the high schoolers who are starting at 7:20, and I just want to say I designed digital experiences as my work, and if my boss had come to me and said, this amount of people are having a bad experience on some platform that I designed, and I came back to them and said, I fixed it for them, but now this section over here is going to have that same bad experience, I would be shown the door. This can't be... it can't be a zero-sum game. We can't just decide, well, someone has to shoulder this 7:20 burden. We typically pick up our daughter at about 5 p.m. We're fortunate to be able to afford a great aftercare program that she loves going to, and she spends about 2 hours in that program at this point. If the 7:20 a.m. start time takes effect, she's getting out over an hour earlier, so she's spending about 3 hours in an after-school program, because we can't adjust it. We're not fortunate enough to adjust our work schedules. This would mean we're getting her home after 5 p.m., and she'd be in bed right now. She would have gone to bed ideally like 20 minutes ago if we wanted her to get the appropriate amount of sleep for a kid her age. And you can cite studies that show maybe adolescents need more sleep than elementary school students, but I've never seen a single sleep study that says, yes, this group is getting just the right amount of sleep. Every sleep study says every group could use more sleep. And that's where I ran out of stuff. But please reconsider. Thank you for this time today. And I will see you at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. After Ben is Breon Bergen.
Good evening. My name is Ben Chen. I live in Bothell. My two sons are going to Terrace Park Elementary School. I'm here to talk about the 7:20 start time. I don't know about you, fellow parents, but when I learned my sons could lose more than an hour of sleep every day starting in 2027, I lost sleep myself. For the current 8:45 start time, I wake up at 6 every morning. I make breakfast, I prepare lunches, I check their school bags. I do all of this for one reason, so my kids can sleep as long as possible. So in a sense, I wake up at 6, so my sons don't have to. But with a 7:20 start time, that changed completely. No matter how organized I am, no matter how early I wake up, my kids will still need to be up around 6 in the morning just to get to school on time. It's difficult for me to understand why we would intentionally design a schedule that requires younger kids, some are even 5 years old, to begin their day so early. So I did some research on elementary school start time in other developed countries. Here's what I found. In Canada, most elementary schools start between 8:30 and 9. In the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, and Finland, 8:45 to 9. In Japan, 8:15 to 8:45. In South Korea, 8:30 and 9. In France, elementary school begin between 8:20 and 8:40. The lone exception was Germany. 8 to 9 million elementary school students started their days as early as 7 to 7:30 from 1939 to 1945. So across the developed world, the overwhelming pattern is clear. Elementary school students usually begin their day somewhere between 8 and 9 in the morning. A 7:20 start time would place our district far outside that norm. So I have a simple question for the board. Is it too much to ask that 5,641 students get a little bit more sleep, a little more time with their family in the morning, and a schedule that reflects what we know about child development? Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. After Brienne is Annette Tempe.
Good evening. My name is Brienne Bergen. I live in Linwood. I am a 7th grade English teacher at Alderwood Middle School. And I've taught at Edmonds Woodway High School as well and have a daughter who will be attending Briar Elementary this September. We are very much invested in the Edmonds School District. Mr. Girard, I wanted to thank you for attending our social studies and English research project presentations in the AMS library. In May, it meant a lot to have that months-long collaboration between students and teachers acknowledged with your presence in the building. For these presentations, students visualized their research essays on their laptops to demonstrate their knowledge of a problem in Washington State and to propose a solution to that problem. This research paper took my students a good week and a half to write, with all of that time dedicated in the classroom to structuring their introduction, their claim, their evidence, and reasoning into about 4 to 5 paragraphs. This work would not have happened without my paraeducator, Cheryl Passarge. Her patient and joyful presence with my 3rd period students was essential to the success of this project, and indeed this entire school year. Whether she is scribing for a student whose primary language is Mandinka, lost my spot. Whether she's scribing for a student whose primary language is not English, teasing out a verbal response from a reluctant reader, or supplying Play-Doh to those 3 kids who just cannot sit still, Cheryl is there for them and for me. She is the eyes and ears of what happens in Alderwood Middle School. She sees the kid who is bullying without consequences during lunch and passing period. She notices the patterns of behavior in the kids who are hungry and going without at home. She knows who's in the after-school program and which kids are absent and why. Paraeducators aren't merely teaching assistants. They are our equals and our partners in educating cohorts of children with high needs and diverse needs. I cannot do this work without Cheryl. Our teaching staff cannot make the difference in every student's life without paraeducators. So I'm here this evening to ask that we honor this crucial work with fair pay, with a livable wage for paraeducators in our district. Thank you.
Thank you, Brienne. After Annette is Alex Chen.
Okay, hello, my name is Annette and I live in Mountain Lake Terrace. I'm the parent of a sophomore and a second grader in the district. I'm here because I believe this community deserves a school start and end time decision made with a full picture, and I don't believe we have that yet. I support late start times for high schoolers. The sleep research is real and our teenagers deserve better. But the way this change has been structured raises serious questions that haven't been answered. I keep hearing the same argument that someone has to start early, and that's just not true. I looked at the North Shore School District. They're right next door. They're larger than us in every way. They have more students, more schools, and 40% more geographic area to cover for buses. And every North Shore high schooler starts no later than 8:20 and gets out at 3:20. Plenty of time for sports and after-school activities. Their middle schoolers start at 8 a.m., and not one of their elementary students starts before 9. That's 3 tiers, a bigger district, better outcomes for everyone. And research shows that a 3-tier model can actually be more cost efficient than 4. Our district has 4 tiers, and somehow our youngest children ended up in the earliest slot. I'd like to understand how that decision was made, because when I went to the district's task force page, I found the published rationale arguing against a 2-tier model, citing up to $40 million in transportation costs, 120 new buses at $20 million, and concerns about cutting driver hours in half. And I understand those constraints, but nowhere in that analysis is a 3-tier model discussed. A 3-tier model doesn't require buses, and it doesn't require doubling drivers. And it's exactly what North Shore is doing right now. I also couldn't find the names of anyone on the committee, and I couldn't find a single study on the effects of early start times for elementary age children. Only research supporting later start for adolescents. And that's not a comprehensive process, that's half an analysis. A 7:20 start means a 6 a.m. wake up for our youngest ones. If the task force reviewed research on what early school start does to young children, it wasn't shared with the community. And if they didn't review it, then that's a gap that needs to be addressed before this moves forward. So tonight, I'm asking the board for 2 things. One, to model a 3-tier schedule and publish the analysis. The district already runs tiered routes. This isn't an ask to build a new system. It's just model 3 tiers instead of 4 and publish the results. If it doesn't work, then tell us why. And second, do not move forward until that analysis has been done openly with community input and with a full picture on the table. Because a decision that impacts this community so significantly deserves a full, transparent analysis with real community engagement. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. After Alex is Lisa Liu.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alex. I'm 9 years old. I live in Bothell, and I am a 3rd grader that goes to Terrace Park Elementary for school. I hear that when I'm in 5th grade, instead of a starting time of 8:45, I will have to start school at 7:20. I have 3 reasons why the starting time of 7:20 is wrong. Number 1, kids need sleep. Don't you think your child needs sleep? Your child needs sleep to get energy. Has your child ever said to you when you wake them up, "Give me 1 more minute," or "I don't want to get up"? That's probably because they need and want more energy from their sleep. And when kids have enough energy, they would do better in school. But picture this. If a child wakes up with no energy, then he or she will not have enough energy for school. So when kids sleep longer, they gain more energy and bring that energy to school. Well, they might have used some at breakfast doing drama. Number 2, your parents need sleep too. You know how your parents mostly wake you up, make you kids up in the morning, cook breakfast, and blah, 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 stuff. My dad usually wakes up around 6:30. He does all the stuff he needs to do. Then it's 7:10ish. So he cooks us breakfast and wakes us up. But what happens when he has to wake up at 5:05? And I think your parents have the quietly same schedule. And 5:05 is a very early time, and I want your families to have good sleeps. Number 3, teachers and staff also need sleep. Have you ever wondered how early your teachers will come to school in the morning? The answer is pretty early. But think about it. Some teachers have kids, some do not. But the ones with kids face a problem. They have to wake up early in the morning to go to school, but then who will take care of the kids? It's not like they can cook breakfast and drive to school by themselves. So they need to stay home to take care of the kids, but they miss school. As a summary, I don't agree with all the schools in the Edmonds School District starting at 7:20. I sincerely want the current starting time to stay the same, and I hope you can tell friends and family that are in and out of the Edmonds School District to come here and express their opinion.
Thank you, Alex. After Lisa will be Henry Chen.
Thank you, Board. My name is Lisa Liu. As you see, this is my family. I'm the mom of 2 boys, Alex and Henry. I feel the board and everybody haven't heard enough voice from our family today. I was not planning to say something. I decided to do so because I need to check the participation mark today. I wanted to kind of wrap up our family's opinion, highlight, I think, 2 things. I work in the IT company. There's encouragement using AI. I didn't burn too much token to get some, answers about importance of sleep. As a mom, their health and well-being is the most important thing that anything in the world. When I asked AI that what does sleep deprivation do to the kids, they said there's pretty alarming. I think a few worse learning, memory loss, and grades, because National Institute of Health shows that insufficient sleep is linked to poor attention, slow processing speed, weaker memory, and lower academic performance for longer term. Those are alarming and concerning to every parent, I think, in this room. And more concerningly, anxiety, irritability, emotional meltdown, and also increased accident and injuries because those kids will react slower, will get distracted easier. I think we all have those days if we didn't have enough sleep the night before, we actually are more prone to some errors and also accidents. Think about this long-term impact to our kids. And even hormone distractions. That's actually also, I think, is very real because we know kids have those hormones that help them grow at night when they sleep. Shorten the sleep time will also impact their overall bone structure and growth in the longer term. I think those are real. It's not like inconvenience. We're here to talk about a change of start time. It's not about it's causing inconvenience to every family. It's going to causing long-term damage to these kids who have only childhood for one time. We cannot be responsible for that damage. Second part, I also wanted to call out, there's a bigger piece. I have a few friends who actually have been thinking about moving to this area because I've been really talking about how nice our communities are, the school districts. A lot of young families are pulling their offers and deciding not to move this district. I also have friends who are deciding to pull their schools out of our school district as well. Yes, because this in the longer term is going to cause the property price to go down. And in the longer term also hurt our tax payment to the city, which will eventually hurt the longer term, the revenue. Everybody is asking for some, I think I heard some voices about more funding for a lot of good stuff. The money comes from the
Thank you, Lisa. After Henry is Jackie Milner.
Hi, my name is Henry from Terrace Park Elementary School. I am in first grade, and I am 6 years old, and the school time is to start, or any place's time is 7:20, and it is a single issue voter.
Thank you, Henry. After Jackie is Jessica Villa.
Good evening. My name is Jackie Milner, and while I live in Burlington, I work as a paraeducator in the Edmonds School District. I'm a proud member of the Public School Employees of Washington, and I'm currently the president of the Paraeducators chapter. I just really wanted to take a couple minutes today to talk about paraeducators, who we are, what we do, and why we matter. Paraeducators are assigned to different programs and classifications throughout our district, but the classification tells you where we work. It doesn't tell you what we do. It doesn't tell you about the paraeducators helping students communicate using an AAC device, supporting students with feeding, mobility, or personal care needs. It doesn't tell you about the paraeducators developing materials, adapting activities, and differentiating instruction so students can access learning and experience success. It doesn't tell you about the paraeducators supporting reading and math interventions, assisting multilingual learners, supervising lunch and recess, or helping students build confidence, friendships, and independence. And honestly, I'm just barely scratching the surface of what paraeducators do. In fact, I'm barely scratching the surface of what my own experience has been within this district, which cannot come close to capturing everything we do throughout the entire district. Edmonds School District's mission is to advocate for each and every student. As paraeducators, we are often the adults who spend the most direct time with students, supporting students with disabilities, the multilingual learners, the students who need additional academic support, and those who just need a little extra help getting through the day. On paper, we're classifications. In reality, we are the people helping make the district's mission possible. We build relationships, we create belonging, we provide access, we make inclusion possible. The impact of our work can be seen far and wide. It can be seen in a student who learns to communicate, a student who learns to read, a student who makes a friend, or a student who finally believes they're capable of amazing things. Those moments matter. Every student deserves that kind of support, and the people who provide it, they matter too, because paraeducators do matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. After Jessica will be Emily DePerna.
Good evening, board members. My name is Jessica Villa, and I'm here to advocate why Cedar Valley Community School needs a full-time resource advocate. As the owner of Villa Insurance Group for the past 9 years, I've worked closely with Cedar Valley Community School through volunteer programs, literacy initiatives, family support efforts, and community partnerships. Over the 9 years, I've seen firsthand that Cedar Valley serves many families facing significant challenges, including financial hardship, housing instability, food insecurity, and language barriers. For many students, success in the classroom depends on having the support system in place outside of the classroom. That is why Angela Garrido's specific role for Cedar Valley as resource advocate, as a community partner, I witnessed the positive impact she has made on students, families, and staff. She has helped families access resources. She connects parents with support services and works alongside teachers to ensure students' needs are being met. She has built trust within the community that depends on her. I am particularly involved through the Read and Write Literacy Program, which has encouraged hundreds of students at Cedar Valley Community School to read over the years. Angela has been instrumental in helping us connect with families, students, ensuring these opportunities reach the children who need them most. From my perspective, reducing Angela's time at Cedar Valley does not align with the school's needs and the school's needs of the community. The challenges facing families have not decreased. If anything, the need for support has grown. Investing in a family's resource services is investing in student success. When families are supported, students are better able to learn, teachers are better able to teach, and the entire school community benefits. I respectfully ask the board to reconsider this decision and restore Angela's full-time position at Cedar Valley Community School. The students, families, staff, and community partners who I work with know the value she brings every day. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Jessica. After Emily is Melissa Dewitt.
Hello again, my name is Emily DePerna, here representing Oak Heights Elementary and the 7:20 start times. Thank you, board, for listening to us at the last meeting and for responding through the newsletter and FAQs page. While I was disappointed to see that much of the response was an attempt to justify this decision and did not reflect an openness to change, I am encouraged by the dialogue. One of the highlights of that response was the release of the survey results, which now allows me today to reflect on what I felt at the time and still feel to be a woefully inadequate survey. I may not be a doctor, like some in this room, but at one point in time I did pass both Statistics 101 and Psychology 101, and I can tell that the execution and results from this community survey would have gotten a big, fat F. Today I will address my concerns. A quick rereading reminded me of how confusing the questions were. If you had simply asked one question and allowed one single response, your data would have been much more accurate. Asking one question, do you support helping teenagers have a later start time, probably would have seen overwhelming support. Asking a second question, do you support 7:20 start times for elementary schools, would have revealed that there is no support for this. If, for whatever reason, you could not have included more questions on the survey, even rephrasing to ask if parents supported all elementary schools starting at 7:20 instead of just some, could have yielded more accurate data. The fact that the language was intentionally ambiguous leads me to believe that the board desired to hide the true changes that would occur if this proposal moved forward. My question is, would you submit to a new survey with more clear language and more direct questions about the outcomes of this decision? Also, the data pool was inherently flawed and favors those that the change would benefit. The survey was sent to parents already enrolled in Edmonds School District. A third grader whose parents responded to this most recent survey will suffer through one horrible year of 7:20 start times and sail on to a cushy middle school and high school career. Following that logic, you have potentially 10 grade levels worth of parents who would have been more likely to respond to the proposal in a positive way. That leaves just 3 grades worth of parents to try and oppose it if they even knew how based on the language of the survey. Their voices were drowned out by virtue of the flawed methodology. So my question is, how did you, or how are you planning to, gain the feedback of the parents for children who will begin kindergarten in 2027? Those little ones are only 3 years old and they are not currently enrolled in Edmonds District. Or the students who will start in 2028, who today are only 2. Those are the students who will have their entire elementary school careers completely torpedoed by this decision and whose voices have been more than drowned out, they've been silenced. Finally, I felt the board's response to our concerns to be a glittering list of all the reasons why not, in response to our suggestions and solutions. My ask of you, tell us what you need from us to change this decision. Is it more data? Is it more feedback about personal hardships? Is it contacting someone at the state level about the buses? Those who are in this room tonight and at the last meeting are just representatives of our wider communities.
Thank you, Emily. After Melissa will be Bryn Kozasinski.
Hi, I'm Melissa Deutz. I'm a paraeducator, and I'm here to speak for a living wage. This school year, approximately 600 paras work to support students and staff. Our union representatives are currently in negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement. When talking to others about a living wage, I've heard employees at the district office say that many paras are parents with students in the district who really just want part-time work that fits their student's school day. That may have been true in the past, but I don't believe that's true any longer. In my experience, my school has 12 paraeducators. 3 of those have adult children who are grown and gone. Only 1 has school-age children. The other 8 do not have children at all. And 8 of the 12 are from single-income households. Bell to bell, the school is 6.5 hours. Most paras only get paid 6 hours or less because our lunch is unpaid. In 2025-26, a year 1 level 1 para earns $28.75 an hour. We're paid for 194 days. This includes 180 school days with students, 2 professional development days, 11 paid holidays. It should be 12 since Labor Day is now part of the school year, and 1 non-student day. This is the most important day before the students start, where paras prepare for working with students by reviewing all health plans, all IEPs, all BIPs, behavior intervention plans, so we know how to be prepared for our students. So $28.75 times 6 hours times 194 days is $33,465. Divide that by 12, you're to $2,788, but this is gross pay. Now take out the deductions, which is about 25%. So now a year one, level one para is earning about $2,090 a month. Can you live and work in Edmonds School District on $2,090 a month? When I showed my check statement to a friend, they initially assumed that I get paid every 2 weeks, and they were truly shocked when they realized that was my monthly income. When I Googled living wages for Snohomish County, a wage calculator from MIT said that in Snohomish County, a single adult with no children needs to earn roughly $61,000 annually before taxes to meet a basic living standard. Based on my work hours, I'm considered an 81.25% employed by the district. So 81.25% of $61,000 is over $50,000. I make nowhere near that. My gross annual pay is about 70% of that. My last day of school included being hit by a kid in the face twice and then being chased around the classroom while they tried to harm me. I wonder how many of your average work days include potential for physical harm or permanent disability, all while not making a living wage. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Melissa. After Bryn will be Sarah Gordon.
Hello, board. My name is Bryn Kozaczynski, and I'm here to politely ask the district to reconsider their decision to switch the school start times. I live in Edmonds, and I go to Westgate Elementary. I'm a fifth grader. So even though this time switch will not affect me, it will affect my first grade sibling, who gets up at 7:30, which I think is a reasonable time for kids to get up for school. I think it is ill-advised to ask kids to get up before 6:30. My brother might have to get up at 5:45 in order to make it to school on time. That means for him to get his full amount of needed sleep, he would need to go to bed at 6 p.m. That's when my family eats dinner. Some kids' parents get home at that time or later. So a lot of kids couldn't get their much needed 10 to 12 hours of sleep. A lot of kids also couldn't do after-school sports because a lot of sports practices start anytime between 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Kids couldn't do any sports if they wanted to get their full amount of sleep. It's not fair to make kids choose between sports or sleep. I have a sport on Mondays where I go to bed at 10, and if I had to get up at 6, I would only get 8 hours of sleep. I could not go to school and focus with that amount of sleep. And imagine a kindergartner trying to do that. I also believe that as many high schoolers might choose to use extra 45 minutes to sleep, I think that a lot of the problem is high schoolers scrolling on TikTok, YouTube, and social media platforms at nighttime. I think that before we change the school start times and give elementary students, make them wake up at 5:45 to 6, first we should be doing surveys and research on how late high schoolers are up scrolling on social media platforms. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bryn. After Sarah will be Cheryl Passage.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Gordon. I use she, her pronouns. I have 2 kids at Terrace Park Elementary, and I'm in Mount Lake Terrace. I'm here to make public comment on the changes to start and release times. Thank you for the time and work that you've put into this decision. I urge you to reconsider. This proposal raises clear and significant equity concerns. Title I is a federal program for schools in low-income neighborhoods. From what I've gleaned from the materials you've provided, 10 of 12 schools with the earliest start times fall in this category. This means a disproportionate number of lower income and working families are being asked to absorb earlier schedules, increased childcare expenses, and greater employment strain. This ask during a worldwide economic recession and tumultuous political climate is the opposite of a decision that reflects equity. Meaning, if something goes wrong when I'm navigating this change, finding a job is more competitive than ever. I have to pay a significant increase in child care that my employer is not putting back on my paycheck, and I'm incredibly lucky not to be worried about showing papers during this process with the threat of ICE looming. Moving forward with this decision risks widening the equity gaps that we say we are committed to closing. Changes like this should function like adding curb ramps to sidewalks. We're expanding access and providing beneficial features, introducing more inclusion in our communities at the detriment to no one. The impact of this decision is not just a logical trade-off. This value decision, it is a values decision. And right now, the plan reflects a definition of equity that allows harm to one group to benefit another. I'm asking you to pause, take time to meaningfully engage the full range of families in the district, especially the most impacted. Re-examine this plan through true equity lens, one that ensures no group is asked to carry the cost of the scientific evidence alone. Because equity is not just about good intentions or following a process. It is about outcomes and who bears the burden when decisions are made. Right now, that burden falls with a questionable way. We can support adolescent well-being without doing so at the expense of our youngest students and families with least access to resources. I urge you to reconsider. Thank you for your service and responsibility to all students and families in our district.
Thank you, Sarah. After Cheryl will be Thomas Hatch.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Passarge. I live in Edmonds, and I work for the Edmonds School District. On the last day of school, we had an assembly. 8th grade student Oliver gave the speech. And in his speech, he included a quote by Teddy Roosevelt. "Far and away, the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing." For every program, every school, every age, every grade, every need, every student population, there is a paraeducator. Every student in this district is in proximity to or interacts with a paraeducator every single day. This district has built a system that relies on paraeducators. We rely on the position to exist, and we rely on that position to be filled. Paraeducators help students communicate, learn, belong, succeed. It is likely that every person sitting on this dais values paraeducators and the work that they do. When we talk about valuing paraeducators, we are really talking about valuing students. Because paraeducators are an essential part of student success, there is a direct connection between how we value students and how we compensate paraeducators. If we believe every student deserves support, then we must also ask whether we are doing enough to support the people who provide it. No paraeducator is asking to get rich. Remember, we don't need Scrabble boards with letter pieces made of gold. We are simply asking whether someone who performs the work that the district considers essential should be able to pay their bills and remain in the profession that they love. This is not just a question about compensation, it's a question about recruitment, retention, school stability, and ultimately our ability to continue serving our students well. Yes, this is a question about wages. It is also a question about values. And because we value our students, we must pay our paraeducators a living wage. So what needs to happen here? 5 school board directors must send a clear message to our district superintendent that we honor the dignity of every student, and therefore we will ensure that the people who support our students can afford to continue doing that work. The district superintendent can then carry this message forward throughout the organization. Paraeducators are not separate from student success, they are integral to it. We have built a school system that depends on paraeducators. The question is whether we value this work enough to make it sustainable.
Thank you, Cheryl. After Tom will be Matthias Ricken.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Thomas Hatch. I live in Mount Lake Terrace, and I'm here to make a public comment about the school start time. I have 3 daughters. My oldest one attends Cedar Way, and my younger 2 are very excited to join her. They're looking forward a lot to it. I understand that this is a hard decision, and there is no easy answer because high schoolers and middle schoolers absolutely need more sleep, and this is harm reduction. Is what this new start time is about. That said, of the 6 options considered, all of them included a 7:20 start time. So what I would urge the board to consider is an alternative option, pushing all start times back equally. I understand this would be challenging for some families, but as I said earlier, this is about harm reduction, and lost sleep is a greater harm than extracurricular disruption. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. After Matthias will be Judy Lamb.
Good evening. My name is Matthias Ricken, and I'm the parent of a rising 2nd grader at Mount Lake Terrace Elementary. I would like to make a comment about the change in the school start times as well. I support the goal of getting high schoolers more sleep. The evidence for that is strong, but my concern is that the proposed solution places a significant burden on our youngest students and on their families, without there being comparable evidence that a 7:20 start time for elementary students is appropriate. My 7-year-old daughter currently gets about 11 hours of sleep, but we still have to wake her up every morning. If we let her sleep longer, she does. Even with that amount of sleep, she is groggy, grumpy, and quiet at breakfast. She's just not ready to participate in discourse. Under the new proposed schedule, she would need to wake up significantly earlier. And that means that to preserve her sleep, she would have to go to bed right around the time that I come back from work. Or if she stays up longer, then she would lose sleep. So it's a choice between missing out on family time and getting the sleep that she obviously needs to be in school. I'm also concerned about childcare. High school students are pretty independent, but elementary students are not. They require supervision before school and after school. And releasing elementary students earlier in the middle of the workday has impact on childcare arrangements, work schedules, transportation, and the daily routines, as I've already mentioned. And that's usually not as much the case with high schoolers. Elementary school is where children build the foundation for their future life. It's where they learn reading, writing, math, attention, and self-regulation. Before asking thousands of young children just to start school at 7:20 in the morning, I believe that the community deserves clear evidence that this is truly the best option available. I would respectfully ask the board 3 questions. First, what alternatives have you considered that don't just rearrange schools into the different tiers for different times? And why were those alternatives rejected? Second, what research actually supports a 7:20 a.m. start time for elementary students? And third, what analysis has the district conducted on the impact of childcare and family relations as a result of this proposal? Thank you.
Thank you, Matthias. After Judy will be Addie Shintaluri.
Good evening, board members. My name is Judy Lamb, and I live in Edmonds. My daughter currently attends Westgate School, and my son will be joining her with the 2027-2028 school year. I'm here tonight because a 7:20 a.m. start time for our youngest learners is not just inconvenient, it's harmful. I understand why this change is being considered, and I respect that this board is trying to respond to a real need, but the same sleep science being used to justify later high school start times also tells us that 7:20 a.m. is harmful for elementary age children. Rather than repeat what others have already shared tonight, I want to tell you about my daughter. She attends Westgate School with an IEP because she needs additional support to thrive. Sleep is not a luxury for her, it is medicine. When she doesn't get enough sleep, the dysregulation she already manages doesn't get worse. It becomes unmanageable. Meltdowns increase, her ability to access learning disappears. The progress her teachers and support team have worked so hard to build can unravel in a single exhausted morning. Here's what the schedule would look like for our family. My workday ends at 5 p.m. For my daughter to get the minimum 9 hours of sleep she needs, she must be in bed by 7 to 8 p.m. This gives us 2 hours for dinner, homework, decompression, the speech and occupational therapy appointments that are clinically necessary under her IEP. These are not optional. These are services that allow her to function in your classrooms. This proposal would force families like mine to choose between our children's sleep and their medically necessary care. This is an impossible and unacceptable choice. I cannot in good conscience send my child, already fighting so hard every day, into a school building at 7:20 a.m. and expect her to succeed. I know I'm not the only one, I'm not the only parent in this room with a child who has an IEP, sensory needs, anxiety, or other challenges that make sleep absolutely non-negotiable. I also want to raise a legal concern that this board should carefully consider before moving forward. Under the Individuals with Disability Education Act, IDEA, every child with a disability is entitled to a free and appropriate public education, known as FAPE. The word appropriate matters enormously here. An education cannot be considered appropriate if the conditions surrounding it are scientifically documented to undermine a child's ability to learn, regulate, and access the supports outlined in their IEP. When you knowingly implement a schedule that sleep research confirms is harmful to young children and that directly conflicts with the therapeutic and medical routines built into a child's IEP, you are putting this district's compliance with FAPE at risk. I would strongly encourage the board to consult with your special education director and legal counsel before adopting this proposal. As a parent, my first obligation is to my child's health and well-being. If this district moves forward with the 7:20 a.m., I'll be left with no choice but to explore alternatives, whether that means private school, homeschooling, or relocate to a district that puts children first.
Thank you, Judy. After Addie will be Zidan Faki.
Hello, board and the amazing set of people here. I am a parent of Hilltop Elementary from Planning Area 47, and this is with regards to the Boundary Review Committee. I'm here tonight because the Open House 2 results were frankly disappointing for the families I represent, and we shared this feedback clearly in the Open House 2 survey. We came in with one modest request to keep PA 47 at Hilltop, so our children stay with the classmates, neighbors, and siblings they have grown up with. That same request had already been submitted in a written petition in Open House 1 survey feedback and raised in prior district meetings right here. Yet it was sidelined in consensus scenario 2. The committee's own guiding principles speak to neighborhood continuity and minimizing disruption. We feel those principles were not applied in this case. We genuinely appreciate the work the committee and Flow Analytics have done, but based on the data the committee themselves have published, consensus scenario 2 appears to be the most disruptive option on the table and falls short of the committee's own criteria. It displaces an estimated 110 students district-wide, the highest count of any scenario considered. It adds an estimated 183 student miles per day of new commute, the highest mileage add. And critically, the Hilltop swap isn't actually a capacity fix. It displaces 62 students and replacing them with 39 other from a different PA. And even with this, Hilltop's projected capacity is not actually addressed. So PA 47 is basically paying a heavy disruption cost for no measurable capacity benefit. Taking the committee's invitation to bring alternatives, we modeled 3 using the committee's own numbers and submitted them in writing. Alternative A moves 48 students and adds only 22 miles per day, an 88% reduction compared to open house 2 findings. Alternative C reduces mileage by approximately 41%, and alternative B addresses the Martha Lake Elementary School capacity and also cuts mileage by 26%. The committee has acknowledged receiving these models, and we appreciate that. But to be honest, every channel of feedback so far has been acknowledged, but never substantively answered. With no further public forums before final adoption, we are asking the board members and the committee for engagement on this data, so we don't end up with another open house 2 style scenario where a clearly stated community request is either misinterpreted or just disappears from the final draft. The data suggests that the committee's own goals to rebalance K5, K6 transition and also maintain school capacity are achievable without
Thank you, Addie. After Zidane is Derica Escamilla.
Hi, my name is Zidane. I'm in 1st grade. I'm a student of Hilltop Elementary. I'm going to 2nd grade in September. I love my school and teachers and my principal and friends. Please don't make me leave my school. It will make me sad to lose my friends and impact my growth and learning. I request you not to move me from Hilltop.
Thank you, Zidane. After Derica is Shelley Hanrahan.
Good evening, school board. I stand in front of you again with my public comment gone out the window. This morning, I sat for 2.5 hours in a sentencing hearing for the killer of one of our students. And what transpired in those 2 hours, I cried and cried, not just to hear the mother and the letter from the little brother, but also everything that was said on the killer's part. And the only thing, 10 years ago, I was here advocating for the family resource advocates. 10 years ago, there was already up to 10 gang members in an elementary school. The reason you don't see BIPOC members here talking about school start times is because they're surviving. They don't even know about that yet. They're just trying to make sure that their one bridge stays. You see Cedar Valley here advocating, but this is the plea of all the families in the Title I schools. Cedar Valley, when no one else had all-day kindergarten, they did. There's always been a need. You guys have to understand, these kids never even had grass to play on until I advocated here 10 years ago. They had one toy for kinder through 6th grade. They didn't even have a field. We are talking about gutting the bridges to our community, not only with our support staff, our paras, I heard about office managers. You all have a hard job, and I understand this. And decisions get made back there that then you guys have to decide on. What I ask for you guys this year is to make the hard decisions. I don't have solutions, but I can't be fighting for my life and advocating to build 3rd places if we aren't fixing the foundation of our kids here. Our paras, our family resource advocates, our sinks, the start time, it's all related. This is the foundation to all of our futures, regardless of what your political stance is and your color of skin. There is no future for us without these kids. And a lot of these parents don't know what's going on and the decisions that you have to make. All they know is what they have is not enough, and you're taking more. By taking these resource advocates, you're tearing down a bridge that has taken so long to build. It takes a village. And you guys, I don't envy you. What job out there do you make decisions for other people's children? I don't envy it, and I know you got things to figure out during the budget, but if social mental health isn't at the root of what you're funding, then what are we doing here? Thank you.
Thank you, Derica. After Shelley is Chelsea Adams.
Good evening, board. Thank you for having us here. It's hard to follow that. I've got a change of topic from what we've heard from the very active community tonight, and I want to express some concerns about the ethnic studies curriculum that was recommended for adoption at the last meeting. I have some concerns based on what has transpired throughout the rest of the country, and that I would hope that part of the adoption that's hard to find on the website would include guardrails that would be put in place for what latitude individual teachers and schools could choose to include for supplemental materials, and that there be consequences if those guardrails are breached. It seems that problems throughout the country have arisen when local school districts, groups, and teachers were given power to do what they wanted to do, and extreme activists brought in all sorts of non-sanctioned materials. It led to school districts being sued, and those lawsuits are still being adjudicated throughout the country. So in adopting ethnic studies programs, which has great validity, I would hope that we would look at all those possibilities and put guardrails in place. That's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Shelley. After Chelsea will be Tom Hanrahan.
Okay, here we go. Good evening. My name is Chelsea Adams. I live in Mount Lake Terrace, and I would like to address the 7:20 a.m. start time. I am a fourth-generation educator, and in fact, much of what I know about academic equity was learned under your leadership in the Shoreline School District, Superintendent Minor. Today, I'm here representing my own children who attend Mount Lake Terrace Elementary, and also to honor the values instilled in me by generations of hardworking teachers. As a young girl, I visited my grandfather's classroom shortly before he retired and noticed a handwritten sign on his podium, much like this. He read it to me. He said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." Eleanor Roosevelt. Those words took root as I matured into adulthood, and they guide my moral compass. And tonight, I hope to be a mirror for you to reflect upon what you know is right in your heart. In forcing Tier 1 families to a 7:20 a.m. start time, you have targeted a very resilient group. We are the queer, the immigrant, the blue-collar, and trans folks who have always scrapped for what we have in life. We are your teachers and your mechanics, your landscapers and your children's nannies. We are your elderly caregivers and your grocery store clerks, your hairdressers, your counselors, your active duty service members. We are the people that take care of you and protect you, and we are asking for that same level of care in return. We are exactly the people for whom the equitable decision-making tool was designed. Ask yourselves, have you reflected on how your own power and privilege will affect this decision-making process? Who will benefit and who will be burdened? We in the Tier 1 community don't have the highest salaries, but what we have is enough to take care of our families and yours. We sit at our kitchen tables and make our monthly budgets work, and I am asking you to do the same because, to my knowledge, the district is not in a crisis, and with transparent conversations, we can find a way through this together. So, who in your life taught you the value of doing what's right versus doing what's easy? Was it a teacher, a coach, a family member? Please think of them. Think of their bravery and the words of wisdom they would offer as you mull over this decision. Think of them and our children as you fight for an equitable solution. We welcome you at our kitchen tables to problem solve, but we will respectfully remind you that we will not let you make us feel inferior without your consent. Let your legacy be larger and brighter than you could have imagined. Make your mentors proud and shine your light on Tier 1 families. Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea. After Tom will be Nikki Banwait.
Thank you. My name is Tom Hanrahan. I am a resident of Edmonds, and I have 2 grandchildren who attend Edmonds Elementary School. I'm also here tonight to talk about the proposed inclusion of ethnic studies as a requirement for high school. I understand and support the need for marginalized communities to have a voice, to be centered, and to have a safe environment in which to speak. But I also know that across the country, many of these classes have devolved into not respecting and not offering dignity to everybody in the class. I'm not Jewish. However, I am the husband and the father and the grandfather of a Jewish family. And I would not be worthy of those titles if I did not advocate for my family. So I would like to see this ethnic studies class, which is very important, be made an elective. I learned something tonight attending this, a quote from Teddy Roosevelt that I'd like to repeat, and I want to thank the person who gave it to us. Far and away, the best prize that life offers is the chance to work hard at work worth doing. Our high school students have little opportunity to pursue their own passions, to decide for themselves what work is worth doing. Give them the option of having an elective to pursue something that they're passionate about. And if that's ethnic studies, that's wonderful. They should have that opportunity. But other students should have the opportunity as well. So my request is that the ethnic studies class be made an elective and not a requirement for high school graduation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. After Nikki will be Megan Husby.
My name is Nikki Banwait. I go to Mount Lake Terrace Elementary, and I don't think starting school at 7:20 is good for elementary kids. Kids need good night's sleep. We deserve to come to school rested, happy, and ready to learn. Waking up so early would make it harder for kids like me to feel ready for the day. Please think about what is best for elementary students like me. We deserve a schedule that helps us succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Megan will be our last speaker tonight.
Good evening, board members. My name is Megan Husby. I am a parent from Montlake Terrace Elementary School, and I'm here to ask you to reconsider the proposed 7:20 start time. I understand and support the goal of later start times for middle and high school students. However, I do not believe that the solution should come at the expense of our youngest children. My concern is not about convenience. Tonight, my topic will be regarding safety. I live off of 66th Avenue West, an area I'm certain you're all know well due to the constant request to control traffic and speeding, the upcoming additional shift to College Place Middle, and most recently the rezoning for mixed-use hubs. Cars regularly travel well above the posted limit, and there are multiple bus stops used by elementary students along that route. Under the proposed schedule, many children as young as 5 years old would be waiting for buses before sunrise during much of the school year, including mine in 2027, as well as my what will be third grader. In the Pacific Northwest, from late September through late March, the sun rises after 7 a.m. That means many students will be walking to bus stops and standing near traffic in darkness, rain, and low visibility conditions for months. Young children are hard for drivers to see, less knowledgeable for traffic flow, and drivers have less time to react when visibility is reduced. These are not theoretical concerns. The parents who spoke during the June 9th meeting raised similar issues, describing kindergartners waiting at buses as early as 6:30 a.m. on dark winter mornings, often in neighborhoods with limited sidewalks and street lighting. Many families have expressed concern that this would place elementary students in conditions that would increase safety risks as well before they even get to school. We will continue to question whether all transportation alternatives have been exhausted before asking elementary students to bear the burden of such an early schedule change and the disproportionate impact on younger students and families. I respectfully ask the board to reevaluate this proposal through the lens of child safety. We ask that you conduct a thorough safety assessment of walking routes, bus stops, lighting conditions, and traffic patterns. A transportation challenge should not result in a 5-year-old standing beside busy roads in the dark. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Megan, and to everybody who came out to speak to us tonight. We appreciate hearing from all of you.